JAKIB Mac here with you on Birds 365. We got our boy, the bowling pro, Jeff Kerr from CBS Sports, jump in with us early here on a Monday. You do any kegling this weekend, Jeff Kerr?
Not this weekend, but last week. Had a nice little 672 series, but can't make a 7-pin, Jody Mac. It's one of the easiest shots in bowling, and I can't make it.
Oh,
really? Why?
Is that a Steve Sachs like hiccup type thing? Chuck Knobloch hiccup type thing?
Yeah, it's honestly, you can roll a reactive ball 7 miles per hour, and you should be able to hit a 7-pin. Yeah, I just flat out didn't get it there.
Oh.
You missed the 1-pin standing 7 a couple times over the weekend, huh?
I only missed it once, but
once? Then what are you bitching about? Come on, you missed it once. Come on.
I shouldn't miss it. You guys can make that pin. All you got to do is just drop the ball down the lane.
What he's so dismissive of us, Jody. You guys can make that shot.
Anybody can make that shot.
If you missed it 3 times in 3 games, all right, I'll give you once in 3 games. That's you missed it, and you're complaining about it. Come on, you're better than that, Kerr. And you're betting you got to get the 7 the next time you need it badly.
I'll tell you what, Jody, if I missed it 3 times in a row, you would probably see me go on viral rage like Eagles fans did on Jonathan Gann after the Super Bowl.
Okay, all right, I'll check out that video. All right, Jeff Kerr, everybody be underway by the middle of this week. Eagles start, they report tomorrow, start with their first practice on Wednesday. This offseason, we don't think much has changed in the NFC. The last 2 teams standing were San Francisco and Philadelphia. We know what happened in that championship game. If Brock Purdy had played, San Francisco would have won. No, I'm not going there. Stupid 49er fans can't let that go. 49er players can't let that go. You may have won. You definitely wouldn't have won the way they stated it. But load this offseason is come and gone, changes everywhere. Teams are different. Yeah, it's still the 49ers and Eagles, is it not? Everything else changed below those top 2 teams in the NFC. Yeah, for me. How about for you?
I would add Dallas in that mix. I still think Dallas is one of the top 3 teams in that conference. I think they could break up the 49ers party. I don't know if they're better than the Eagles. I think their talent is there, but they got a bum calling plays in Mike McCarthy. I don't understand the logic.
Poor Mike McCarthy.
Yeah, I just don't understand the logic of getting rid of Kellen Moore. And you know who's going to benefit from it? Justin Herbert and the Chargers. That's a home run hire for the Chargers.
I will say, no more excuses for Brandon Staley with the Chargers.
Oh, yeah.
But, I don't know. Mike's won a lot of games. I don't know. A lot of it is Aaron Rodgers, but he's won a lot of games in Dallas. Now they failed in the playoffs. We know that. I'm on wait and see mode. Yeah, I think a lot more of the Cowboys than most people in Philadelphia for obvious reasons. I mean, I think most are caught up in the rivalry. I think it's a really good football team. Dak's got to have a bounce back year. And I do, I think people talked. If you remember when Mike McCarthy was saying he wants to play, essentially he wants to play smarter. And people took that as he wants to run the football. He's caught in 1975. That's not what the modern NFL is. I think you had the whole analytics community jumping down his throat. What he was saying is sort of the difference between, I always talk about the difference between Chip Kelly and Bill Belichick with tempo. You got to be smart. You got to, use it. Nobody used it better than Patriots with Tom Brady, who could run things from the line of scrimmage like a maestro, spectacular. But he also had the common sense as a head coach to say, all right, we got a 3-touchdown lead, 2-touchdown lead. Let's take the foot off the gas. Let's milk clock. Chip Kelly never had that. And all of a sudden he's wearing players out, veterans, not 19-year-old kids, 20-year-old kids. You got Jason Peters out there huffing and puffing as a veteran. Just didn't have that extra aspect. I see that not to that degree, but that's what Mike was trying to say. Look,
but Jen, let me ask you a question. And I'm going to attack Mike McCarthy here. Who's more in charge of his team, Nick Sirianni or Mike McCarthy? We said in the first segment of today's show, don't kid yourself, it's Sirianni's offense. Even though Shane Steichen might be not calling the play, it's all about Nick's offense. He puts a so McCarthy's offense that he was running last year was too dumb. Is he throwing himself under the bus or his departed offensive coordinator under the bus? Which one is it?
Well, if you're asking who's in charge of the Dallas Cowboys,
It's Sherry Jones. Yeah.
I'll tell you what.
He's throwing the owner under the bus. That's what you're telling me.
Oh, yeah.
McCarthy's saying that the Cowboys aren't a smart enough team because they're owned by Jerry Jones?
Yeah, Jerry's not smart enough to figure it out, but yeah, a little bit. I mean, if you think about, you can go back to Jason Garrett. Now, Jerry Jones ordered Jason Garrett to stop calling plays, and whoever, it might have been Scott Linehan. I forget who.
It was Scott Linehan.
Yeah, it might. He basically ordered it. When he hired Mike, he loved Kellen Moore, similar to what I was talking about with Nick Rollis, but he thought he was too young to be a head coach, but he wanted him calling plays. Jerry Jones, I'm talking about. And obviously, Mike has gotten to the point where he's convinced him, look, we got to change some things if we want to get over the hump. And if it fails, he'll get fired. It's a calculated gamble, obviously. But if he believes in it, and I think he does, I'm going to wait and see approach. He might fail, but he's won a lot of games.
There's an issue with the Cowboys that not a lot of people have talked about it, and especially the talking heads over at ESPN. What's going to happen when Tyron Smith gets hurt like he normally does? Zach Martin holds out or gets hurt. He doesn't get hurt, but it could happen. Terrence Steele's coming back from a major injury. Their offensive line, their top five, could rival the Eagles as the best in the NFL. It's not, but it could rival it. But you get one injury there, they got to shuffle everything. They don't have the depth. It could be a major issue.
Well, I'll say something, Jeff. The Eagles' depth isn't the same on the offensive line.
No.
Now, the Eagles have the best offensive line in football. No question.
Dennis Kelly's going to help, though. Dennis Kelly will help.
He's 34 years old. He's going to be 34.
Good year last year, though.
The indication by that signing is we're not comfortable with our depth. That is what that signing was about. And, the Eagles are kind of in the same boat, is what I'm trying to say.
By the way, your colleague called that, Ed Kratz. He said that they were going to sign somebody.
Yeah.
They did.
Ed was on that train.
For an offensive lineman.
Yeah. He went Dalton. He was focused more on right guard. The Eagles, I think, were focused more on swing tackle or left tackle specifically.
Something tells me Tyler Steen's going to win that job, by the way. That right guard.
He might. A lot. You never know with rookies. You really don't. Especially like Jaylen Carter is going to play. I'm very confident.
Nolan Smith is going to play too.
I don't know how much Nolan's going to play.
Well,
just because they have so much depth. They have so much depth. He'll be the fourth guy in the rotation, so he'll play. But I mean significant snaps. Jaylen Carter's going to play significant snaps. Is Sidney Brown? Maybe. Is Tyler Steen? Maybe. Maybe not. Maybe they play very little. That all depends on how quickly they pick things up. And, I just went down the schedule before you came on, Jeff. You have it. They're not doing a lot of on-field work. That's not going to affect. That's not going to affect Jason Kelsey or Lane Johnson. It might affect Sidney Brown or Tyler Steen's ability to get up to speed for week one. I'll say that.
John, I don't know if you guys talked about before I came on, but doesn't it feel like the light training camp schedule has more to do with who they're participating with in joint practices because they got two of them this year?
No, I think they do it either way. But yeah, I mean, they had two last year. I mean, they've been doing that. That Nick values the joint practices more than the preseason games. So they've been doing that. And you'll see all the starters get work against Cleveland and Indy and not play basically at all. You might get a series to get the fans excited with Jalen Hurts. But, you're not going to see many of the starters in the preseason game. to put it mildly.
I just let it be on record. I'm asking both you guys right here, right now. You know which way I'm leaning. Last year, the Cowboys scored 467 points, third most in the National Football League.
Yeah, it's
Trailing
about the
only,
defense, Jody.
What's that?
It's about the defense, not the offense.
Yep.
In other words, he's trying to manage the game better. In other words, not that they weren't explosive offensively. He turned it over too much. Why are you trying to push it if you're in the lead? Why? What I talked about with milk and clock, up tempo, down tempo. If you have a 10-point lead, maybe it's smarter to bleed the clock a little bit, and we'll see if he's right. But that's the part that everybody
knows. No, what you're
missed.
telling me is Kellen Moore. He says, forget about Jerry Jones. He's throwing Kellen Moore completely under the bus. That his his play calling was not smart enough for the Cowboys to win against San Francisco.
They also think that Dak Prescott threw 15 interceptions last year because he threw the ball 41, 42 times a game. They want to cut that to like 31, 36 and now limit the interception.
Then here's my next question for you, representing Mike McCarthy, either one of you. Who's going to carry the ball if Tony Pollard has got to miss a week?
You know what, Jody? That's what I asked on my 3 training camp questions for each team in the division. Who is an Ezekiel Elliott reunion possible? Is it going to be Deuce Vaughn? Who's it going to be? Like, do they trust anybody behind Tony Pollard? And I'll be honest, I think the longer this thing goes, the more chance there is of a potential Ezekiel Elliott return there.
Yeah, I think that too. And but even if there isn't, I think they're like everybody else. They're starting to talk about Malik Davis, whoever the hell that is. I mean, they think
they love Malik Davis.
Yeah, they think anybody can run the football just like everybody else. They're no different than the Eagles were ahead of the curve on that. They think the same as everybody else, and.
John, confirm this with me. The last multi-year deal the Eagles gave to a running back, was it DeMarco Murray?
Yeah, well, that worked out well.
Yeah, that's why they give running backs 1-year deals.
And by the way, Tony Pollard last year, 193 carries, easily the most in his career. You're going to give it to him even more this year because you asked Dak to throw it too much last year, and that's why he threw all those picks. Okay, so how many carries is Tony Pollard going to get? You're jumping him up from 193 to 250, 260. You don't think he's getting hurt? If you try and use him as the main guy of the offense to keep them from making bad mistakes in the passing game, good luck keeping Tony Pollard.
I'll say this: there's not a lot of tread on Tony Pollard's tires.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I always say I can't legislate injuries, so I can't worry about that. He's my best player. I'm gonna give him the football in the backfield. My best player in the backfield. He's going to get the football if he's healthy. It's a lot of talk with the Eagles about a committee approach. I don't know what that means. We talked to Nick about that as well in our sort of session, pre-training camp session, and he could tell he was giving out hints. He's like, "Well, you can do it a lot of ways, and as long as you check the boxes, you check." One guy checks box A, one guy checks box B, one guy. But, common sense, if Rashad Penny's on the field and you're going to run the football and, it's 3rd down, here comes DeAndre Swift. It's, hurry up situation. Here comes Kenny Gainwell. And you have a true committee approach. Don't you think opposing defenses figure that out? And all of a sudden you got to bust trends, right? Because, Penny's on the field, they're going to run. And then you got to throw him the football. Then he's doing something he's not good at, that Swift's good at, and vice versa. So he wants a lead back. They're going to spend the summer trying to define who their lead back is. And I think it'll be Swift. But then if he gets hurt, and he's got people talk about Penny, he's only 3 years in the league. He's never played more than 13 games, 13. So he's always banged up a little bit. He gets hurt, then you go to the next guy as the lead back. That's what you do. And that's a position. The running backs got their Zoom call. How do we stop it? newsflash, you can't stop it.
You're not stopping it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, you're not. I mean, look at what Saquon Barkley's going through. The Giants literally depended on Saquon Barkley for them to win football games this year. You mean to tell me they're going to Gary Brightwell or whoever their backup running back is to win football game? I got news for you.
Sign James Robinson this weekend. That's going to make all the difference in the world.
He just got cut from the Patriots that they're signing a 2-year deal. I'm going to say this with the Giants. They better get this shit figured out, or they are going to win 5 games this year.
Speaking of running backs, by the way, Bills' Nyheim Hines suffered a significant knee injury off-site and is expected to miss the entire season already. That's why, it was off-site. But
wow, I just did a Bills preview spot over the weekend on CBS Sports Radio, and I was asking about Nyheim Hines. Significant as in done for the year type
done
stuff?
For the year.
Yeah, done for the year.
Jeez.
There's a reason why the Bills won't sign Dalvin Cook, because they got James Cook, and he's
right. They're not going to cut into the brothers' time. Just a quick reminder for you two guys. Last year, championship game, San Francisco against Dallas. Tony Pollard, 6 carries for 22 yards. Yeah, he's going to lift them past San Francisco this year. Not happening, guys.
Here's a fun stat with the running backs, too. You know LeGarrette Blount has been the leading rusher on 3 of the last 10 Super Bowl champions?
Really?
Yep. Patriots twice and the Eagles.
Just bring LeGarrette back.
He probably could still do it. Well, how old is he now? 35, 36?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up. But
I think we're the same age.
I mean, LeGarrette was a good player, but even the Eagles, the Super Bowl year, they brought in Jay Ajayi for a reason. And I kind of split it, but that's the thing about that position. The best players, look, it's a catch-22, and that's why they're having Zoom calls. Because if your best player is a running back like Saquon Barkley, you're not going to be a championship contender. I went through it with Adrian Peterson, and that's a Hall of Fame. That's a first ballot Hall of Fame player. Even that, and by the way, the game has further changed from his wheelhouse, where more teams, believed in the running game, and it's gotten even further away from that. It's really tough to build a Super Bowl championship in the modern era around a running back. I don't think it is possible.
John, were you covering the Vikings in 2008 when they played the Eagles in the playoff game in the wildcard game with Tavares Jackson?
Is that the Westbrook screen pass?
Yeah, the Westbrook screen pass game.
Yeah, Childress.
Yeah, I remember going into that week, I said, just prevent 2 or 3 big plays from Adrian Peterson, you'll beat that team, right?
Yeah.
And he had that 140-yard run, and I remember they were making a big deal about, he had 20 carries for 80 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'm like, well, take away the 40-yard run, and he really didn't do much to impact that game. And the Eagles won, what,
well, yeah, but and then that's the point. Think about how good Adrian Peterson was.
And he was
amazing
Jackson
to get Tavares Jackson in the playoffs and Christian Ponder in the playoffs. That's how good he was. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. In fact, in some ways, it's detrimental because you fool yourself. And I saw this uphand. You fool yourself into thinking you're better than you are.
The Giants did that this offseason.
Yeah.
I said, I guess they like losing 38-7 in the divisional round.
Yeah. It's really difficult for running backs because you like to have a good one, but, you almost want to get lucky in finding a good one. And then you use them up for 4 years, like the Cowboys used up DeMarco Murray. And then the Eagles made the foolhardy decision to sign him after all those touches. He was never the same player. It's tough.
Didn't slide for a first down either, and had a interesting meeting on the plane one day.
Well, here's what all the running backs in the National Football League have to be rooting for this year if they're just worried about their own ability to make money and position in the league. They need to root for the 49ers to win it all and McCaffrey to have a huge year. Because if he does, Johnny Mac just ran it down for us. You fool yourself into believing you can win with a running back as your key play. If McCaffrey is their most important player and the 49ers win it with a big defense, don't leave that out of the equation, but a second-year underpaid Mr. Irrelevant quarterback, and they win the whole thing, then you can't say you can fool yourself. No, with the 49ers proved you can do it. So for all the running backs out there who are rooting for their own team first, secondly, you probably want to be rooting for the 49ers.
Yeah, see, in my opinion, Jody, that's the one guy who's not going to change it. They're just going to make excuses and say, well, he's different. He's different. He is the outlier. That's the reason.
A terrible contract. That's why Carolina got rid of it.
Yeah, but that's the reason he got the contract to begin with, though. He's more than a running back. Like everybody talked about it with Bijan Robinson. He's more than a running back. He's more than a running back. He's going to play in the slot. I guarantee Atlanta's not going to play Bijan Robinson in the slot. Oh, San Francisco will if they deem fit, and Christian can do it. He is a very, and this goes back to 2017 when I talked to the Eagles a lot about that guy.
They love Christian, by the way.
Yeah. He is different. He is a different running back. Like Adrian Peterson is a running back. Christian McCaffrey is, whether you want to call it weapon, manufactured player.
Swiss Army knife.
And he can run. But that's just a little bit of what he can do. And that's why the Eagles, for all the talk about the Eagles won't take a running back, won't take a running back. And I said it, Jody will tell you, leading up to the draft, no matter how much hype about Bijan, I call this Bijan 365 at time, they're not taking Bijan Robinson. They were taking Christian McCaffrey in 2017. They were taking him. He never got close to, 14?
Yeah, he went 9, I think.
One.
Because I think Mahomes went right after him.
Yeah. Either way, they were taking him. And with the 14th pick in the draft, they would have taken him. They never got the opportunity. And if you don't believe me, Albert Breer confirmed it this year for some reason. However, it's always about the player. There's always an outlier. He's the outlier. He's not changing anything for the running back position, Christian McCaffrey.
No, unless someone can believe that they can find the next Christian McCaffrey. And I know
I don't know who the next Christian McCaffrey is.
Doesn't have near as much faith in the Atlanta offense coordinator as he does in the 49ers head coach. Or I think they're going to try. I think they're going to try and make Bijan Robinson Christian McCaffrey South.
I have faith in the Falcons' offensive line. I'll say that. I have faith in their ground and pound scheme, and I think Bijan's going to put up some amazing numbers in there. But I don't know if he's going to.
I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a great running back. And that's the extent of it.
They're going to get 5 good years out of him.
Last I looked, they still have Drake London and Kyle Pitts. I mean, they want to get the ball to their playmakers.
The 49ers have Ayuk and Deebo Samuel too, but somehow McCaffrey's still the most important guy in that offense.
I would say Deebo Samuel is. I think he gets paid a lot of money to not be as productive as he was 2 years ago.
I agree with Jody. It's going to be Christian this year. Remember, they'll have him for the full year, at least when he's healthy. And he's got some, obviously.
He was really good for them last year too. Like I know their schedule kind of correlated with McCaffrey's success there too, but I don't think they lost the game with McCaffrey after
undefeated.
The Chiefs game.
No. Undefeated with McCaffrey and undefeated with.
And Jody can also tell you, I don't like manufactured touch players. I don't like them except with Kyle Shanahan. If somebody else proves they can freaking use them, I'll give them credit. Nobody else uses them.
Do you guys think Kyle Shanahan's under a lot of pressure to win a Super Bowl this year?
Ton of pressure.
Like we have to have that conversation. I don't care who he gets the NFC Championship game with. Like, at some point, don't you kind of need a quarterback to beat the Eagles?
Well, I think Kyle is a very good play caller, a very good schemer, probably the best schemer in professional football. But I don't necessarily think he's a great head coach. And that's what I liked about Nick Sirianni.
His game day acumen is not good. I saw that in the last 2 NFC.
And you know why? I think, Jeff, it's because he gets bogged down with the play calling. And he gets bogged down with the admittedly brilliant offensive stuff he comes up with. But that is a big sort of matzo ball on game day, to use Jerry Seinfeld. That's a
And,
big
you
matzo
know
ball.
what? He out schemed Andy Reid in Super Bowl 54.
He out schemes everybody.
But Andy Reid schooled him after halftime of that game.
Who was, remind me here, boys, who was the Carolina offensive coordinator in McCaffrey's second and third year in the league when he was getting 100 catches? Not just 30, 40, 50 catches like he's done the last couple of years, who made manufactured touches work in Carolina.
Boy, I'd have to look that up.
Yeah, I'd
That
have
was
to look
still
that
the-
up. I'd have to look
I
that
don't
up
remember
too.
either.
That was
That's why
Ron Rivera's.
That's why I'm
Oh,
asking
was it
you
was
guys.
it Shula? It wasn't Shula.
But for part of it, maybe. Because let me look.
Yeah, that's a good one. Oh man. But
You said that the only one who can actually pull off manufactured touches is Kyle Shanahan. And for the most part, I agree with you. But there was a guy who was, I guess the point I'm trying to make is
sometimes
they win a lot of games doing that, though.
Sometimes I get in trouble when I overstate things. But I will say this, and that's the second part of it. And the bigger part of it is Christian is different than all these guys.
Right. So
he is different.
Why did Shanahan get credit for manufactured touches?
Was he in on the running back call, by the way?
Last year? He did as well as he did because he's Christian McCaffrey, not because of Shanahan's scheme.
Well, no. It's much easier to use Christian McCaffrey than, say, Bijan Robinson. That's my point. People think, not everybody, but a lot of people think Bijan Robinson can be a similar receiver as Christian McCaffrey. He can't. That's not an insult. He's not. I was talking to numerous scouts when he was coming out. They said he ran better routes than the receivers at the combine. When you put a normal running back in the slot, even if it's Austin Eckler, even if it's if you think Bijan Robinson can become Austin Eckler, is a great receiver. Here, DeAndre Swift's a great receiver. I think Kenny Gainwell is a great receiver. If you do that consistently, it's advantage defense for a mediocre nickel corner. If you're going to take a receiver off the field, that's a playoff for an NFL nickel corner. With Christian, it's not. That's the difference between him and everybody else.
Oh, if Christian McCaffrey catches the ball, there's a really good chance he's taking it 20 yards.
Yeah, I talk about this with Colin Thompson all the time, who played with Christian. He's one of those guys. So I always say, players, when players are wowed by other players, I take notice. I always say AP was one of them. Peterson, Randy Moss was one of those. Michael Vick was one of those. Aaron Donald.
I'll even say Saquon Barkley was one of those.
Saquon's one of those. Aaron Donald's probably the most current example. Brandon Brooks just was awed by Aaron Donald. Christian's one of those guys amongst NFL players. That's when you know, all right, this guy's different. This guy's, and he is.
Can I say there might be a guy on the Eagles this year that could be one of those, and they drafted him in the first round?
Yeah.
Jaylen Carter.
Potential. Yeah, potential.
From what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
It's
all right. So let me put this.
Something.
It's more to John, but Jeff, if you're going to get down there and you're going to potentially be there, you can answer it too. What drill, what specific workout that we're going to see in the limited amount of activities Eagles are going to have here in the first week to 10 days that Jaylen Carter is going to get everybody to go, wow, that you're all going to have your phones ready so you can catch the video, so you can show what he's capable of doing. Is there anything the Eagles are going to be doing where Jaylen Carter could get a wow moment?
If they keep him near us, right, John?
Yeah. One-on-ones. Yeah.
One-on-ones will be the one.
Which offensive lineman is he going to embarrass?
Kelsey.
Yeah, all of them.
No, don't tell Kelsey. Kelsey's going to challenge you to a chugging contest for that one, McMullen. Yeah. He's going to make you pay for that.
He'll beat all of us in a chugging contest. I guarantee
that. Yeah, I mean, well, as Stoutland will tell you, one-on-ones are the offense is up against it. and it's advantage pass rusher to begin with. If you just even look minutely good, or if you look really bad as a pass rusher, you got issues. He's gonna school people.
I want to see Jaylen
in
Carter
one-on-ones.
versus Landon Dickerson in one-on-ones. That's what I
he's
want
gonna
to see.
school poor Landon.
Oh yeah, he's gonna school everybody. He's Jaylen Carter.
Now there will be times when he gets I've seen it with too many young players. There will be times, and there's fair questions because of his pro day about his motor and all that kind of stuff. You got to be going. I'll bring up another guy I got to cover, Jared Allen. I remember the old Cheese League when he was on Kansas City. Jared Allen was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs.
That guy didn't take a playoff, by the way.
Did not take a playoff in practice. He was a 4th round pick. I got to see him his rookie year. I said, who the hell is this guy? He is destroying people in one-on-ones, destroying people. But he never, as Jeff says, never took a playoff. Unbelievably high motor, and he ultimately turned into, he will be a Hall of Famer. I don't know when he gets in, but
he'll get in.
It's designed for athletic pass rushers to look good. He's going to look good. Now, every once in a while, Landon will probably get his hands on him, and
Nolan Smith should look good in them too.
Yeah, Nolan will as well. Yeah, he will as well. He will look very good. Now, Nolan, because he's so undersized, like if Lane gets a hold of him, he's going to look bad occasionally, but he will have some good reps as well.
All right, yeah. Jeff Kerr, we kept you long enough. I just want you to remember, and Johnny Mac to remember this. Jody Mac said it to you on July 24th. The whole running back Zoom thing, they got nothing they can do. They all came together and held hands and sang Kumbaya and then realized.
We had a more productive call right now than probably the running backs did this weekend.
And basically they came out and said, we're screwed, which is true. The only way they can get some fairness back into the situation is to be collectively bargained. This will be the time when the running backs will have a chance to get some fair treatment. The NFL's 18th game. Because the NFL wants to go to 18 games soon, as in like next year. And they got six more years to go on a collective bargaining agreement. They're going to want to try and negotiate that 18th game with the players to add to it. That's the only crack, the only opening I see for running backs. When the NFL comes hat in hand to the Players Association and says, yeah, we want to do away with one of the preseason games. We want to pump up the schedule by one more game. That's when they have to get their just due. If they don't, shame on the union, shame on their brethren who are watching their salaries go up, everybody else's, and running backs go down. That's the only way they're going to get it done. There has to be an opening of the collective bargaining agreement, and the only thing the owners are going to open it up for is an 18th game. So
yeah, but they have two. I will say this, Jody, they have two hurdles, because you're right about the CBA, but they got to convince their own side,
right,
to fight for them. And there's never been any indication that the Players Association will fight for any targeted group. In other words, for years, all interior offensive linemen were underpaid. Nobody gave a crap. They were less valued.
Receivers were underpaid at one point.
Yeah. They've never shown any indication that they're willing to do it. So before they even get to that point, they got to convince their own Players Association. I don't think they're even going to be able to do that.
The last time the Players Association actually grew a pair and fought for something, the league was on a lockout till August, and no one seemed to care. They just wanted their football.
Well, who's new Players Association president?
That's good. That's a good question.
They pushed the old guy out the door.
Yeah, it's not D. Smith. It's
I forget his name.
That is $1 million. I know
whoever he is.
I know the players representative is.
Here's a hint from Jody McDonald. Take care of one group before you get less practice time, okay? Because the only thing the Players Association ever wins is 20 minutes less of walkthroughs during preseason. That's all they ever win. It's less practice time.
Nick Sirianni figured out how to get by that too.
Take care of your running backs. Get them some.
The great, by the way, it is the great Lloyd Howell's job.
He got
I could tell you.
I didn't know that.
I could tell you Ed Garby, Gene Upshaw, D. Smith off the top of my head. It's going to take me 15 years to remember. I've already forgotten it. Lloyd Howell's name.
Howell. Is it Lloyd Howell?
Think Thurston Howell. Just put.
I was going to say, is it Lloyd Howell III? Was he on the ship with?
Yeah, that's a good mnemonic. What do you call it? Yeah, I got to remember that. Thurston Howell III. That's a good one. I'll give you guys credit. Lloyd Howell.
Yeah, good luck with that. All right, Kerr, you stayed past your expiration date.
All right, wait. I've been waiting to say this for like 24 hours. Follow Jeff Kerr on X at Jeff Kerr CBS.
What? You involved with that nonsense?
They changed Twitter to
X. They
X.
changed it. We're not like you, Jody. We don't actually go.
We have to.
I mean, we go on it. We have to.
Yeah, we have X. It's now called because of Elon Musk.
I just punched it up. It says Twitter right here. Oh no, the X
will be X.
Oh shoot,
it's up. The X is up.
Holy mackerel!
At Jeff Kerr CBS on X.
X.
They should have called it Twitter X. I think I would have liked that more.
Yeah. Then it sounds like a porn site or something.
Yeah.
Well, everything Elon does is crazy anyway, so you might as well just do that.
Well, I'll be checking you out on X later on this afternoon. Thanks, Kerr. Always a pleasure. We'll talk to you next week, brother.
Yep, sounds great, guys.
Thanks,
John,
Jeff.
I'll see you Wednesday.
See you,
the
bud.
X-Star, Jeff Kerr, here with us on CBS Sports on Birds 365. He's CBS, I'm CBS. But when we're here, we're Birds 365 on the JAKIB Media YouTube channel. Johnny Mac, Jody Mac coming right back.